Good Friday morning, friends. It's me, Terry Lambertson. Yeah, Good Friday. Good Friday morning. Here we are, friends. As we saw yesterday, Jesus was escorted out of the Garden of Gethsemane by a band of thugs. He is brought before the chief priests who have overlooked pages and pages of evidence and people who are willing to say awful things about Jesus. But they're false charges, and it didn't add up. Things were canceling each other out. Somebody said, "We heard him say, 'I'm going to tear down this temple built by hard labor, and in 3 days build another without lifting a hand.'" But even they couldn't agree exactly. In the middle of this, the chief priest stood up and asked Jesus, "What do you have to say to the accusation?" He said nothing. The chief priest tried again, this time asking, "Are you the Messiah, the Son of the Blessed?" Jesus said, "Yes, I am, and you'll see it for yourself. The Son of Man seated at the right hand of the Mighty One, arriving on the clouds of heaven." The chief priest lost his temper. Did you hear that? After that, do we need witnesses? You heard the blasphemy. Are you going to stand for it? They condemned him one and all. The sentence was death. But as we well know, every year during the Passover, they would release one prisoner. And Pilate didn't want to be in this mess at all. He didn't want to have anything to do with the sentencing and death of Jesus. So what he did was, instead of just choosing somebody and setting them free, he asked the crowd, "Who shall I release? Jesus or Barabbas?" And the crowd yells. "So, what do I do with this man you call King Jesus?" They yelled. "Nail him to a cross." Pilate objected. "But for what crime?" But they yelled all the louder. "Nail him to the cross." Pilate gave the crowd what it wanted, set Barabbas free, and turned Jesus over for whipping and crucifixion. And so they whipped him, some accounts say, to the point where his skin on his back was hanging in sheets, and his intestines were outside of his body. And they brought him up the hill, divided his clothes, and threw dice to see who would get them. They nailed him up at 9 o'clock in the morning. The charge against him, "The King of the Jews," was scrawled above a sign. Along with him, they crucified 2 criminals, one to his right and the other to his left. People passing along the road jeered, shaking their heads in mock lament. "You bragged that you could tear down the temple and then rebuild it in 3 days. So show us your stuff. Save yourself. If you're really God's son, come down off that cross." At noon, the sky became extremely dark. The darkness lasted for 3 hours. At 3 o'clock, Jesus groaned out of the depths, crying loudly, "Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani," which means, my God, why have you abandoned me?" Some of the bystanders who heard him said, "Listen, he's calling for Elijah." Someone ran off, soaked a sponge in sour wine, put it on a stick, and gave it to him to drink, saying, "Let's see if Elijah comes to take him down." But Jesus, with a loud cry, gave his last breath. At that moment, the temple curtain ripped right down the middle. When the Roman captain, standing guard in front of him, saw that he had quit breathing, he said, "This has to be the Son of God." And so he's taken off to the tomb, and the ladies come to dress his body, preparing him for burial. All right, friends, I will see you again for Silent Saturday. See you then, friends. Bye now.